Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about Crunchyroll and AT&T and kind of figure out where Crunchyroll is right now. I've been meaning to do a video follow-up on the Crunchyroll situation for a couple days, and we got busy with The Last of Us Part 2 and a bunch of other stuff. So I thought, Sunday, it's kind of slow. We'll take another look at it and see if we can't figure out what is going on with Crunchyroll. So I went and started digging for some information on High Guardian Spice, and I came across CLOWNFISH TV in Spanish. Yeah, no, this actually is an official CLOWNFISH TV channel. We're just starting it. We are translated into Spanish. Whether or not it actually sounds like us, you'll have to listen and find out, but we've only got 5 subs. So you're going to have to go out and subscribe if you want to listen to CLOWNFISH TV in Spanish. And if you're bilingual, let us know how the Spanish translation is in comparison to CLOWNFISH TV in English. I'd love to know. All right, guys, so we're going to talk about Crunchyroll and AT&T and Warner Brothers and try to maybe look at the news and see kind of what's going on here. There have been rumors for at least a month and a half, 2 months, that AT&T was going to sell off Crunchyroll, that they actually started to sell, or they started the process of finding a buyer for Crunchyroll before the pandemic, and the pandemic gave them a bit of a reprieve. Now, this is coming from a site called The Information. A lot of people are like, oh, this isn't a very legit site. Actually, it's very, very legit. You have to pay to play. And it's basically a publication for venture capitalists and people who want to invest in tech companies. And the rumor was that AT&T was going to sell Crunchyroll. We know that AT&T is going on a selling spree because they're in debt. They're in debt. They talk about all the stuff they have to sell just to get out of debt. They bought DirecTV, they bought Warner Media, and now they're trying to streamline everything because they're putting everything into HBO Max. Yet they don't have it for Amazon Fire TV or Roku. So good luck. Good luck with that. But yeah, they keep restating it. Every time you hear about AT&T, it's their CEO or CFO coming out and talking about how they're going to have to sell. They're going to have to sell to get their debt down because they're massively in debt. They frankly bit off more than they could chew. And what's going to happen is a lot of kind of these outlier niche websites and IP and things that aren't essential to their core business. Yeah, they're going to get gone. They're going to nuke them. And they were actually talking about selling off Crunchyroll at one point. Now, Crunchyroll, the word on the street was they were going to sell it to Sony. Sony was a possible buyer. So Sony already owns Funimation. So at that point, if Sony bought Crunchyroll, they pretty much are the only game in town for anime because they would own Funimation and Crunchyroll, and they probably would consolidate the two together. Now, some other indicators that Crunchyroll might get gone from AT&T soon. Now, I'm not talking about Crunchyroll disappearing, but that they're definitely looking at selling it. Is their app? They're not even updating it. It's garbage. If you've used it on Fire TV, it's garbage. But some of their projects are up in the air, like High Guardian Spice. I don't know where it is. Nobody knows where High Guardian Spice is. It's been in the can for a while. Over a year ago, I think it was, we had someone reach out to us on Twitter and say that they saw the pilot episode. They were test screening the pilot episode and they leaked the plot. We had Elation's lawyers actually contact us and politely ask us to take down the plot synopsis, even though we didn't sign an NDA. They asked us, they forced us to do it, but we did it because we didn't want the person who saw the screener to get in trouble. But if you go out to Ray Rodriguez's Twitter, there's nothing on their Twitter. Like, this show's in limbo. They put out a trailer for upcoming Crunchyroll Originals, including Tower of God and Warren Ellis's Freak Angels. And Warren Ellis apparently is in trouble right now too. So I don't know how that's going to go. But High Guardian Spice, they kind of snuck it in there and they put it, buried it in there and kind of put it at the bottom. But we saw a couple seconds of it and the animation actually didn't look too bad. But we have no idea where it is. We haven't heard anything about it since February. Ray Rodriguez isn't talking about it. And it could be that if it's true that Crunchyroll might be for sale, or that they're thinking about unloading Crunchyroll, that a lot of these shows, they might just kind of be in limbo for now. That is a strong possibility that some of this stuff is in limbo. Not that it's never going to see the light of day, but that they're not exactly sure how to proceed yet because they're not sure where Crunchyroll is going to be. So we kind of knew something was up a couple of months ago with Crunchyroll, and this is right before, this is about 2 weeks before the news came out that they were possibly being sold. Again, another industry website, The Drum, talking about Crunchyroll and all the benefits that Crunchyroll has and the audience. It felt like a sales pitch. It really did feel like a sales pitch or a justification to keep the company around. And, you know, we knew something was up then, and then like 2 weeks later, it came out that Crunchyroll could potentially be for sale, that the sale could resume, or they could look for another buyer after the pandemic. And this really shouldn't surprise anyone because, look, AT&T is looking at selling off their very profitable games division to free up some cash. Crunchyroll is not going to sell for nearly as much as Warner Brothers Interactive, but they clearly are, you know, looking to get rid of things that are not essentials, and they might not look at anime as being an essential. They might look at it like, well, we get rid of Crunchyroll, we get rid of some of these other platforms, we can focus everything on HBO Max. Either that or we can just absorb Crunchyroll into HBO Max, or just license content. Maybe that's part of the deal. We sell Crunchyroll to Sony, and then we just license Sony content onto HBO Max, all that anime, and we don't have to pay those people. Sony does. You know, and they can do with them whatever they want to do. So something's definitely up. Again, they are under pressure to divest TV assets. Reports are circulating that AT&T investors are pressuring new CEO John Stankey to sell assets in DirecTV and other television divisions of Warner Brothers. That would include Crunchyroll. You know, people are saying they shouldn't sell Warner Brothers games because it's actually profitable. Again, when you're dealing with a company the size of Warner Brothers, it doesn't matter. If it's profitable, it might not be profitable enough. You know, Disney got out of games. Now they just let EA do everything. And Disney Interactive actually was profitable. Those people had no warning either. They're just like, yeah, you're done. You're done. We don't want to do video games anymore. You're done. And for those of you who say that they wouldn't just, you know, up and shut down Crunchyroll, they've done it before. They shut down DramaFever. Again, that was a niche streaming service, but it did have a pretty healthy user base. If it was its own business, it would have been totally fine. But because it's part of this monstrous AT&T Warner Media machine, it wasn't profitable enough. And there was literally no warning. Geeky was very, very salty that they shut down DramaFever with no warning. Just like, hey, guess what, guys? DramaFever's gone. It's gone. And that was about a year and a half ago. And, you know, even a year ago, they were talking about it. They said it's a big boy game now. DramaFever is a casualty of the big money OTT war. That would be streaming services. There's not going to be any room for niche streamers. It's going to be the big players. You know, Warner's got HBO Max. You've got Disney Plus, Netflix. We've got Peacock coming. There's not going to be any room for these kind of niche streamers. That might include Crunchyroll. It might be that Crunchyroll content just goes someplace else. Anime is not big enough to these companies to warrant its own platform. It might get rolled into something else. You know, Warner Media also shut down Machinima. Machinima, which is massive. Machinima has 12 million something subscribers on YouTube. They shut the damn thing down. They wiped the content clean. They could have just left that content out there and it would have generated passive ad revenue for them, and they didn't do it. They wiped the channel clean. They laid off 81 employees, and that was the last place that was producing a lot of the Transformers content. We're going to talk about that too, because there's supposed to be a new Transformers show coming from Rooster Teeth, also part of Warner Media, and it's nowhere to be found. It was supposed to start already, and nobody knows where it is. And that's Rooster Teeth, and we know people have been leaving Rooster Teeth too. So, you know, look, I think at this point, anything related to AT&T, anything related to Warner Media, it could get gone tomorrow. They literally could just snap it away. And we know people have been jumping ship from Rooster Teeth. Bernie Burns left. We've had some other people leave. They laid a bunch of people off. I think Rooster Teeth is going to get gone or get absorbed in the Cartoon Network studios. I think that Crunchyroll could potentially be sold to Sony or absorbed into HBO Max. But I think a year from now, Warner's not going to have like umpteen different streaming services, umpteen different animation studios. I think they're going to consolidate everything because they have to. But anyway, some other Crunchyroll news I've been able to find. There's not much going on right now. They appointed a new marketing director. That was very interesting. And this was just like a week ago. They appointed a new marketing director right after this sales pitch coming from their previous marketing director, I believe, was floating around after the news that they were potentially trying to sell the company. Here they come with a new marketing director. This happens a lot too. When a company is getting ready to sell, a lot of times they'll bring in experienced people to sell with the company for curbside appeal. It's kind of like selling a house. You put some new siding on the house, to bump up that curbside appeal. That happens a lot too. I've actually been at companies where they're in the process of selling the company, and all of a sudden we got all these new people in, but they were all experienced people, from other companies. So when they go to sell the company, they're like, oh, we got so-and-so from this company and so-and-so from that company, and we just put some new shrubs out front. It's a great buy. We're going to jack the price up now. And that happens a lot. But they're also in the middle of a lawsuit right now. This is really interesting. Crunchyroll is sued for taking anime stickers from customers. This is a very interesting thing, and this is another one that kind of went under the radar, because this goes back to, do you or do you not own your digital content? And Elation's getting sued right now, class action lawsuit, because they had the Digital Drops app that sold digital anime stickers. Well, people sunk a bunch of money into this app thinking they owned, I'm using air quotes here, owned these stickers. It turned out they didn't own them. They said that the company misled customers about how long they could use the app and the items they purchased. It wasn't around very long. Crunchyroll launched Digital Drops in August of 2019 and claimed its anime stickers were rare and highly collectible. In February, Crunchyroll shut down the servers running the app and told customers their products would no longer be accessible. So this thing was only online for like 6 months. Again, this shows that AT&T is not that serious about Crunchyroll, or they're not pursuing new business ventures with Crunchyroll. When they start something like this and they launch an app and they turn around and they close it 6 months later, that sounds to me like there's definitely something going on, that they're looking to systematically shut things down. We're kind of seeing that with DC Comics right now too. Now people are going to talk about DC Comics with the Spotify deal. I never said that DC was going to sell off the characters. They would just shut down the publishing of the comic books themselves. That's probably what's going to happen. I think Warner Brothers will keep Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc. And so if they have a multi-year deal in play with Spotify for those podcasts, they can still produce podcasts with the comics characters. Doesn't mean that they're publishing the comic books themselves. So Crunchyroll, yeah, they're getting sued because they shut this thing down. They took in a bunch of money from people and they shut it down in 6 months. And this is going to be interesting because we could potentially see this with Comixology someday. What if Amazon decides Comixology isn't worth keeping around? That it's not worth having all those servers tied up for digital comics, that the sales are maybe flatlining, and they just shut down Comixology. And what if you've got thousands of dollars sunk into digital comics that you can no longer access? But again, back to the Crunchyroll Originals, the fact that they're not really popping up as quickly as we hoped for. They have Tower of God, and so far I think Tower of God is the only one that's launched, because I'm looking at the page for this, and we have Tower of God, which has actually been getting really good reviews. The webtoon it's based on is actually pretty popular, but nothing else has launched yet. God of High School hasn't launched. Set Reminder, only Equinox hasn't launched yet. Inspector, Freak Angels. Now I gotta wonder with all the controversy or non-controversy around Warren Ellis if that one's gonna launch. High Guardian Spice, no idea where it is. None of these, we don't know where they are. So far it's just Tower of God. That's the only thing that they've launched, and we're talking February they put the trailer out there. So again, I have to wonder if they're not waiting to see what's going to happen here. And as far as High Guardian Spice goes, I have no idea if we're ever going to see it. I think we will eventually, but it might be with, they're going to wait and see what happens to Crunchyroll first, if they sell it or absorb it in HBO Max, or give it another year or two yet before we see it. I know it's done. It's not vaporware. The show is done. Ray Rodriguez wrapped up production on it a year or two ago. It is done. They just haven't dropped it yet. So not sure what's going on. We're going to have to wait and see. But don't be surprised if something major happens with Crunchyroll within the next few months to a year, because they obviously were looking to sell it off. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later. Thinking about printing your own comic books, graphic novel, or manga? We recommend our friends over at PrintNinja. We've been using PrintNinja as long as they've been printing comics, and both the quality and price is excellent. Mention Clownfish TV and get an additional 5% overrun of your book order quantity printed for free. For free! That's free books, people. Just mention this offer on the phone or in the additional information box on the quote request form. That's printninja.com, or click on the link in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.